everyone, this is Kassie and these are the weekly tarot horoscopes for the week of March 14 to March 20. Thank you for your comments and your feedback, it's much appreciated, and if you want to see more videos like this one, subscribe to my channel and push the notifications bell so that you don't miss anything that comes up. Tell me how your week went if you want in the comments below. I'm always glad to get feedback and to know how the energies of the cards manifest in your life. If you want to join me for a psychic live chat or a tarot cards reading, you can find me on my psychic platform www.kassiekai.com, where you can get 3 free minutes with your subscription. Today we'll be using the Spacious Tarot deck. And what's interesting about this deck, except the gorgeous colors and illustrations, is that it does not feature any people, and it's simple, colorful and mystical. But let's get on with the predictions. For Aries, we had the 7 of Pentacles and now the 5 of Pentacles. The 7 of Pentacles puts you in a waiting mode, probably in a way that made you feel very impatient or very uncomfortable, because you could not really see what kind of results you were going to produce and if you were going to produce any results. So if last week passed and you still didn't get what you desired, this week you may decide to sacrifice something in order to get what you want. The 5 of Pentacles means that you are giving something away in order to get something back, or the opposite, depending on the position you are in. However, what you give and what you get with this card is not really balanced. And it doesn't have to be necessarily money or something tangible. It could be something you share, like emotions or responsibilities in a relationship. And this week you'll have to deal with an imbalance in some area of your life. In order for balance to be restored, you may decide to make a move that at the first glance may not appear fair or balanced, but the 5 of Pentacles is often about going against the norm, being in some way unconventional. And perhaps in that way you will get the reaction you want to get, because it's certain that you will get a reaction. Just be prepared that maybe someone will feel that they are getting the short end of the stick, but that's part of a process that has the purpose to balance things out and not to create imbalance necessarily. The 5 of Pentacles is Mercury in Taurus, and that means your thoughts and talks will revolve around practical matters this week, or matters that have to do with how to make your life more pleasant and more comfortable. If you are wondering how someone feels about you, they feel there's a difference between you or an imbalance, and that could be age difference or social difference or even race, and they are focused on a negative point of your connection instead of focusing on what could actually bring balance. As long as they are in that frame of mind, it will be difficult for you to find common ground, so you need to give them time to reflect and decide what they want to do. This week you may have to sort out a financial matter so that you can create better circumstances for yourself. For Taurus, we had the Knight of Wands and now it's the Ace of Wands. Whatever kind of action you decided to take last week, it seems it's triggering a new beginning. The Knight of Wands must have set the wheels in motion in some way, and this could be someone, a fire sign, Aries, Leo or Sagittarius, and this person will come to you with a purpose to accomplish something with you. There can be important messages that will push you to take action, and with this Ace there's something you will get done this week, and that will trigger a fresh start. Now, aces are not necessarily life-changing events, but they always have a potential to make something grow and become more serious or more long-lasting. Their energy can be amplified as we feed it with our actions in this case, because wands represent actions. So don't underestimate the power of aces. It may be small things in the beginning, but it will probably cause a series of other actions that will ultimately be very substantial and very significant. If you want to know the feelings of someone, this person feels attracted to you, they like you, and they have warm feelings in their heart. Feelings are not fully developed yet though, either because your relationship is still very new, it's for instance a new friendship and new connection, or because there are stages to be experienced before things become more balanced. With the Ace of Wands, there will undoubtedly be an increase of interest, more attraction, more passion, more sex. Also, actions and developments will continue to move fast, as both the Knight of Wands you had before and the Ace of Wands you have now are fire cards, and two fire cards boost each other, so you can expect fast messages, fast responses, fast developments, and a message may open a new door for you. With the Ace of Wands, the timing is now, so if you've been expecting news or a message, a visit or something to happen, the wait is over and this week you will finally get what you want. Also make a note for the first days of the week, as it appears that those will be the most important or the most intense. For Gemini, we had the Strength and now it's the Knight of Cups. That's a significant shift from last week's energies, because the Strength is a card of power. It gives us great power. It urges us and pushes us to use our strengths, and maybe that's what you did last week. And the Strength also means discipline. So under the energy of this card, we often try to control ourselves and our urges. However, now this is changing with the Knight of Cups, because the Knight of Cups always encourages us to express our feelings, to do something nice, something that will make us feel good, and you may receive an invitation, a message, or news this week. Knights are news bearers anyway, that will make you feel really good and will make you feel that you can let yourself act more spontaneously and more emotionally. You will follow your heart more than you will listen to your head this week. And that's okay, because we do need this polarity. We can't be driven by logic all the time, neither can we be too sentimental all the time. So we do need this fluctuation between one state and another, and that's what you will feel this week. Also, someone who was rigid and unresponsive will become more open to sharing emotionally. And you may have a beautiful expression of emotions this week, especially if things have been blocked one way or another. The Knight of Cups is one of the slower knights, so things develop, but not too fast. You need to give something 2 or 3 weeks in order to fully show its real potential. If you're wondering how someone feels about you, it's clear that there are romantic feelings and they want to connect with you emotionally, sexually, and they will probably make a move to show you they care, to show you their feelings, and that move can be quite romantic actually. Also, there might be a trip you will organize with your partner or the person you're interested in, or you will plan a journey for love reasons. Knights have the capacity to affect change, and that's why these days there will be a turning point towards more feelings and openness in a relationship. For Cancer, we had the Eight of Swords and now it's the Queen of Cups. There will definitely be a release, a relief if you prefer, because the Eight of Swords is a rather limiting energy. It blocks you from doing things, it blocks you from expressing how you feel. It's particularly restrictive when it comes to our thinking. So there might have been limitations that led to negative thinking, worrying about the worst possible scenario, that kind of thing, but the Queen of Cups comes to you with a solution, as Cups court cards are often helpers. And this might be a water sign person or a water ascendant person, and they will help you with matters involving personal relationships. And that doesn't mean only romantic relationships. It could be that you had a fallout with a friend or a family member, and this queen will act as a mediator that will help you resolve it. This will be a positive energy around you. It shows improvement, especially after the rather difficult energies you probably experienced last week. And if someone has been unresponsive or difficult, expect that now they will get more positive, more romantic maybe, more open. And since that's a strong water energy that blends really well with yours, you will feel satisfied with how things will turn out, especially if you feared you will get a negative outcome last week. It appears that what will happen will not be as negative as you thought it would be. It will be easier now to find some common ground with another person, despite your differences, and in fact, this week you will be given the chance to heal a hurt that probably happened in the recent past. The Queen of Cups is a slow and passive card, so it's better to observe how things unfold now without taking action if you can, as you will see that in the coming 2 weeks things will shift and change several times. Don't forget that as a water card, this queen does show fluctuations, especially in emotions. It's very important this week to practice some self-love. Showing love to yourself, taking care of yourself in the best possible way, will attract the right energies and people to you, people and situations that are in tune with you, and maybe that's what you need at this stage. For Leo, we had the Page of Cups and now it's the Four of Wands. Whatever has been offered to you last week, an opportunity that presented itself, is now taking a more solid shape, because the Four of Wands shows the end of a stage, the successful completion of something, and that will make you feel really good and that you are getting somewhere, that you are getting something done. And this completion comes with a reward for you. So you've made efforts, and depending on what kind of efforts you made, there will be a reward. If, for example, you were working on a relationship, this week you may take the next step, or if you were working on your career and you were looking for something new, or to get a promotion, or to improve your odds in one way or another, this week there will be good news. And it appears that this is connected to a process that started last week. Perhaps you made a very positive decision, or you accepted an offer that will be very beneficial. Also, the Four of Wands often shows a celebration, and that could be a celebration that's related to what you have accomplished, and it goes hand in hand with the reward I mentioned before. It's very possible you will decide to make something legal or to make something official. The Four of Wands shows that the feelings of someone are stable, happy, and content, and they enjoy to connect and spend time with you. The Four of Wands is Venus in Aries, and to remind you, Venus had an affair with Mars, who is the ruler of Aries. That's why love matters will be intense this week, and if you are single, the Four of Wands means you may meet someone new, as new connections are favored under this energy, and new meetings will be characterized by strong attraction and strong sexual energies. However, if you're involved with someone who's married, or if you are married, extra caution this week, because if you remember, Venus had an affair with Mars that didn't go well at all, since her husband found out and exposed them. In 1 month from now approximately, between April 11 and April 20, there will be a significant event that will seal in some way what is happening now. Also, Thursday seems to be important this week, so make a note for that day. For Virgo, we had the Magician and now the Two of Wands. Events that happened last week must have confused you a little. Maybe someone acted in a way that was not clear, or they were a little manipulative, because the Magician often shows energies that can confuse us. In his positive manifestation, the magician can be a force that will push us to take action and produce very positive results. And depending on how he manifested in your life, it can also be a person who appears and disappears or goes hot and cold, confusing you. This might be a week that you will be asked to make a decision about what happened before and take action. What's interesting about this energy is that the decision it suggests is already taken a long time ago. And what's missing is the execution of that decision, the action that will bring it into reality. And perhaps that's what will become clear this week, what will happen this week. You will find yourself doing what is needed for something to go ahead or in order for something to make sense to you eventually. The Two of Wands shows fluctuations in feelings, so if you're wondering how someone feels, there is no consistency or stability, and you will see that at times they get closer to you and they are nice and open, and then they take distance and they get cold and unresponsive. And perhaps you too are mirroring them and you are doing the same, so there's this push and pull that's going on, and it's causing confusion, hesitation and uncertainty. Tuesday seems to be a significant day, and within 2 weeks from now, you will be able to see a situation in its full manifestation. Especially between 21st and 30 March, energies will be very intense and you will experience some very strong shifts that will probably be the results of the decisions you will make these days. If you are wondering how something will progress, there are several stages before you get to the final stage, and there will be several twists and turns too. So try not to get too impatient and try to go with the flow of things. For Libra, we had the Queen of Wands and now the Seven of Cups. With the Queen of Wands, there must have been things you accomplished last week, things you needed to finish, and you did so successfully, hopefully. And whatever you did last week, this week is opening options for you. And that's a very good thing, because you will finally feel that you are not limited in any way and there are things you can do. And the Seven of Cups is an energy that's a little scattered, admittedly. That means you won't necessarily know everything you really want in all of its details. Now you know what you want and you are moving in that direction, but you don't have to know all the specifics of it. So all you need to do is to hold on to what you want and let the universe bring it to you in the appropriate form. If you want to know how someone feels about you, there are fluctuations in their feelings. There is attraction, at times it's stronger, at times it's weaker, and that will be reflected on their actions. That can be a little confusing. So one day they may act in one way and you feel you can figure out what they want, and then they change it completely and they do something very different. However, if you know what you want, you stay on the path you decided to take without swaying. That person may be a fire sign, Leo, Sagittarius or Aries, and that means a strong personality, and you are a strong personality too, so there might be some very intense moments between you. If you are wondering how something will go, it's possible that you or someone else will try to fit too many options in their life. For instance, to keep everyone happy, and in that way they may end up making a mess. The Seven of Cups is an energy that can wrap you up in fantasy and illusion, so make sure that you are sticking to the facts and refrain from making imaginary scenarios. Something that happened between 13 and 22 November could now break or dissolve in some way, while Sunday appears to be a significant day this week. For Scorpio, we had the Ten of Wands and now it's the Death. Admittedly, the Ten of Wands is a difficult energy, because it can show pressure, it can cause stress, negative thoughts, and maybe you felt really pressured, or you felt that you took on too many responsibilities that were not really yours to take, or someone failed to live up to your expectations and you decided to take distance. Keep in mind that the energy of the Ten of Wands is the final stage, so it appears that you are now coming to a more final and decisive moment because the Death shows an ending. And that's a very transformative energy, in the sense that there is fear, the fear of the unknown that goes with this card, so it's not very comfortable, but at the same time there's also relief. If you make a difficult decision and you know that's it and you are not going back to how it was, it also comes with a relief, because it opens up new possibilities for you and new perspectives. So the Death card is not an energy to be feared, although at times it is uncomfortable, but it's something that you can't avoid anyway, and change is coming. But embracing it and embracing your need for change is the most important thing. No matter what difficult situation this energy may cause, it is not as difficult as when you feel trapped. The energy of this card allows you to surrender, because there's not much you can do about something that isn't alive anymore. So you have to decide what it is in your life that has run its cycle and makes you feel powerless, and take it out from its root, because it will be taken out anyway. If you feel that you can hold on and sustain a situation, this energy tells you that sooner or later you will have to face something, and it will be difficult if you face it on other people's terms. Also, you may have to deal with another Scorpio person, as the Death is associated with your sign, the sign of Scorpio, and that's why it's also important to think about what happened around your birthday, and those events that happened back then may come to a culmination now. If you're wondering how someone feels, it appears that they feel disconnected from you in some way, and there are things they fear to face, to accept, and they also fear change. So you may notice that they are repeating old patterns that do not serve anyone anymore. For Sagittarius, we had the King of Swords and now the Seven of Swords. And we talked about communications and our thoughts last week, and how to express those thoughts clearly, and how that will open new opportunities in personal or professional relationships, to be clear, to be transparent in what we want, in what we think. And now the Seven of Swords shows a twist, a turn in a situation, because the Seven of Swords is not at all clear or transparent. On the contrary, it's an energy that makes you or others want to hide things, to hide the truth, to make things appear different than how they really are. And although that could cause some confusion, and you may feel that something's wrong or something's off, another way to see this energy is by being a bit diplomatic, also by thinking outside the box, doing things out of the ordinary way of doing things. And yes, you do need to be on the lookout, as someone may try to deceive you this week, someone may tell you lies, so there's no doubt, whenever we get this card, we need to be fully aware of what is happening, fully alert, who we trust, especially people we don't know well. Don't put your trust in anyone that hasn't proven they are worthy of your trust. Know that one of the messages of this card is that you can get what you want by making an unconventional plan of action and leave out your usual patterns. If you are wondering how someone feels about you, it's certain that they are not showing the true feelings. Whatever you see, there's more under the surface, and perhaps they have a very specific reason why they want to hide their feelings. They may have an agenda, but within a week or so, you will be able to better understand their intentions. So give it some time and don't react to anything they say. The Seven of Swords is the moon in Aquarius, and you will probably feel the need to establish some space emotionally. because the moon in that placement is a bit aloof. But do that if you have to, especially if you feel that will give you a greater understanding of things, and it will. And saying that, you may be able to better understand something that happened between 9 and 18 February, or something that will be revealed about events that took place in that time period. For Capricorn, we had the Lovers, and now it's the Nine of Swords. That's a very different energy from one week to another. The Lovers is usually associated with love and relationships, but it's also a decision, and perhaps you decided to try something different, a different method to get something done or to get closer to another. But the Nine of Swords is a disruptive energy, and you may feel that you need to put an end to something, and that could be a relationship or a situation that's causing you too much stress, too much worry, to the extent that it keeps you up at nights. There's a big contrast between these two cards, and you may be dealing with something that when it's good, it's too good, and when it's bad, it's extremely depressing. And for that reason, you may be dealing with an emotional roller coaster actually. One day good, the next day really bad. So perhaps you didn't really make a decision last week, you thought about a decision that needs to be made, and maybe you are worried that something would cause a disruption or a fight. The Nine of Swords can bring great discontent, especially if we don't do anything to resolve our issues, to go to the root of those negative thoughts, because at times we think there's a person or a situation that makes us feel bad, but in reality there are things deep-rooted inside, wounds and patterns that determine our thoughts and actions and the way we think. So there must be something that calls for your attention, something that wants to come to the surface to be healed or to be transformed. But this week you will get the chance to do so, and it may be a little painful, but you will have to tone down, to calm down your thoughts, because with two air cards that represent the mind, there's too much mental activity. The Nine of Swords is Mars in Gemini, and that means this week you will deal with fast-paced situations, and also you will feel that your words now are very powerful. If you don't waste your energy in petty arguments, you will find that your ability to persuade and manipulate with your words is now very enhanced, as well as your ability to seduce and to lead. For Aquarius, we had the Knight of Swords, and now it's the Judgment. With this combination, there could have been a talk or a message last week that turned out to be rather judgmental literally, and maybe that pushed you to make a decision too. And here it shows the need for a new beginning, because the Judgment is a rebirth, but a rebirth that takes into account your past deeds. And in other words, the Judgment is a card of karma. So the actions you took will have certain results, certain influences on other people, and not only on your life. So this week you will see what kind of reactions the actions you took in the previous weeks have produced. But you will also be asked to show whether you learned a lesson that life gave you in the past or not, which means you may experience a repeat of a situation that happened before. And that can be a person from the past who will resurface one way or another. And keep in mind that the Judgment is also news, so you may hear from someone you were connected before and then you were disconnected for a long time. That would be one of the ways it can play out, or there might be a certain patterns between you and another person that make a situation difficult. So this week you will be given the opportunity to heal those patterns, to transform them into a more meaningful and pleasant connection, or you will be pushed to block this person so that you don't allow them to do the damage they did before. That's a very powerful energy, and it can manifest in so many ways because it has to do with your personal patterns, your preferences, your calling. So it's a very personal card, but at the same time it's very universal because it has to do with your purpose and your calling in this universe. If you are wondering how someone feels, they may feel karmically connected to you, and that could play out either with them being strongly attracted to you or strongly repelled, depending on what lessons you have to give to each other. Trust the intuitive feelings you'll get, and you will know what the case is with them. The judgment is about realigning your past with your future, and it feels that in approximately 20 days something will happen, and then you'll have to choose which direction to go, whether to look back or to move forward. For Pisces, we had the Two of Swords and now the Magician. That's a lot of air energy. The Magician is an air card, and so is the Two of Swords. However, with the Magician, you will be more decisive, much more determined to get what you want, and you know what you need to do, and you'll take action. The Magician is the card of action, a very strong energy that makes things happen in magical ways. For that reason, you will experience synchronistic events this week, perhaps signs that will shock you, as if the universe is talking to you directly. And that could be something another person will tell you, or a repeated sign, or a recurring dream. In any case, look for those things that are beyond your understanding, beyond reality, and try to embrace those energies. Don't fear them, because they will lead you to a place that's much more positive, a place of clarity. And you got another two a few weeks ago. It was the Two of Pentacles, and twos can be very ambiguous, so you must have experienced confusion about things, about your life, or what you have to do to move in a more positive way, in a way that will help you make sense of things. So that's an energy you need to embrace, even if you don't fully understand it at this stage, because the Magician has aspects that are out of this world. The Magician is the card of manifestation too, so if you've been using manifestation practices, prayer, visualization, manifestation, meditation, all those things this week will bring results. The Magician is associated with Mercury, and that means there will be important communications, talks, and you may have dealings with people who are Virgo Sun or Ascendant, or you may even make plans or get news about traveling. If you're wondering how someone feels about you, they find you very interesting and they are excited to be close to you. However, as the Magician has a tendency to appear and disappear, you may feel that they aren't that consistent with their actions or their feelings. The beginning of the week seems to be quite strong for you, and since that's a very fast card, expect that something you've been waiting for will manifest within this week. Also, you are still under the energy of the powerful new moon we had in your sign, and you can see how you can tap into its energies and make the most of them on the video above. So these were the weekly tarot horoscopes for the week of March 14 to March 20. I hope you enjoyed them, and I will see you next week. Have a fantastic week.